Hello, it's Monday, and it is a new weekly reading vlog. You will have seen earlier on today, from me, but last week for you, that I finished the vlog today and I was on my way to work. So I went for my first shift and it was really, really good. Everybody was so nice, and got to go through like a few things, set up my Mac because they all work off Macs, and get it all personalised and just like things like that. They'd set up a profile for me and they'd put the little dog like emoji, like the apple dog emoji, as my face thing, because I don't have a picture yet, and it was so cute. It was just so lovely. Like, everybody was so nice and I just had such a nice time. I was only there for 4 hours because I'm going to be working 4 hours 5 days a week, and I came home, edited my vlog for last week, and promptly fell asleep. So I fell asleep somewhere around about 4:30. Only woke up at 6 o'clock. So yeah, I think my brain was just tuckered out from all the stress getting there, and then like all the information. It wasn't like loads and loads of information, but it was still like new information going into my head. So I think my body was just like, we need to nap to like get your brain reset a little bit. So I had a nap, woke up. Hamish cuddled me the whole time. He was tucked in because I was like on my side, kind of curled up a little bit, and he tucked right into where I was curled up. It was so cute because he was there when I fell asleep and he was there when I woke up. Like, it was just so cute. But yeah, I had a really, really good day. I'm not ready anymore. So I've still got to finish Born to Bite, and I've still got to start and finish Yellowface. Those are my goals this week. Anything else is a bonus. I do intend to try and finish 14 books, as I said twice in the last week's vlog. And I so far have read 0. Well, I've read 1. So I intend to finish 15 books. I've finished 1. I finished Vicious. But yeah, I'm so happy with my first day at work, and I am really looking forward to going back tomorrow. So that's a good sign. It's a really good sign. It's a shame because the girl that I'm replacing, she is so lovely. Like, I just know that we would really, really get on, but obviously she's leaving, so that's not going to happen. But such is life. Yeah, so hopefully I will update you this week with plenty of reading. I'm in bed reading Born to Bite, and there's just been a bit where, so basically the premise of this book is Armand has had 3 wives. Susanna, who was his life mate, and then Althea and Rosamond, who were not his life mates, but Althea tricked him into marrying her by getting pregnant, and this was back in like times when, you know, single women couldn't get pregnant. And by tricked him, I mean, and because she was an immortal, immortal women have to like double the blood intake to be able to carry a pregnancy, because otherwise the body sees it as a parasite basically, and will reject the fetus. So for her to be able to fall pregnant, she would have to take active steps and measures to do that. So she rocked up when he was in like the grieving stages of having lost his first wife and life mate, dressed like his life mate, and had like done her makeup and hair and stuff so she looked like her, and like took advantage of his grief, got herself pregnant, and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna have to marry you now. And then she died, and then Rosamond was a friend, and she was like, I want to have a baby while I'm still young, but we should also, like, you know, if we find our life mates, we should go for our life mates. And he was like, oh yeah, I'd like another baby. So Althea also had a baby, which is Thomas. Rosamond had Jean-Louise, and Susanna was Nicholas's mum. And all 3 of them died in very suspicious circumstances, and then Nicholas's wife has died in 50 years ago in suspicious circumstances as well. And now Ishi is there with Bricker and Anders to investigate like who killed these women and exonerate Nicholas from this other murder that he was accused of 50 years ago. So like, they've just had an attack. Someone's attacked Eshe for the 2nd time now, and this is just Eshe all over. Like, she is like thousands of years old, like over 1,000 years old, maybe over 2,000 years old. And her family was like rich nobility. Her dad was Atlantean, one of the originals. He's as old as Lucian, and her mother was Egyptian royalty, nobility, basically. And so she grew up rich. She grew up with a family of warriors, and now she's an enforcer as well. And Eshe is like kick-ass. She's got like a mohawk that was dyed to look like her hair was on fire. Her motorbike looks like it's on fire because of the lights that are around it. Like, Eshe is 6 foot odds of just lean, mean, badass machine. Like, I love Eshe. And Eshe's like, our man's like, what do we do if like we can't get any more information and we can't work out who's doing this? And Eshe's like, well, then we'll just bait a trap. And our man's like, and what's the bait? And she's just like, and he's like, no. And she's like, and he's like, no. And she's like, yes. And he's like, no. And she's like, yes. Like, she's just, I love her. She's so funny. She doesn't take anybody's nonsense. Like, she's just one of my favourite characters. I really hope we get more of Eshe and Armand later on. Because like, it'd be nice for, there's a character in here called Cedric who says that it just feels like he's never going to find his life mate. So I really, really hope that at some point in the future we get a Cedric book. That would be interesting. But the next one is Alistair Mackenzie. So it'll be interesting to see her Scottish side. There's already a Scottish, one of the other guys, and I can't remember who it is Scottish in one of the newer books as well. So it'll be like that side of the family. But I'm really enjoying this. But I just had to talk about Eshe. I should really be going to bed soon because it's like 20 past midnight and I've got work tomorrow morning. But I did have a 2-hour nap, so I'm just going to read a little bit more and then go to sleep. Hamish has joined me. Look at his little face. He's just chilling out. Cuddled up. Like the little angel that he is. Hello. It is Tuesday. I am live currently with Lisa and Jem and Tori. Becca was here, but she's headed off to bed because she's on an early tomorrow. I'm really struggling with the position I've got this phone in. I've not read anything today. It's terrible. I really need to pick up Yellowface. Like, I really want to pick up Yellowface, but at the same time, I'm like, ugh, like, I've got such high expectations. But there's also nothing else I want to read instead. Like, I read Born to Bite to kind of give me like a little, not a break, because like I'm sure I'm gonna like it, but I just wanted something that I knew that I'd read before and was just easy, you know what I mean? So I read Born to Bite, I finished it last night, and have not read anything today. I got up, went to work, I had a really good day at work. It was really fun. Kay's mum came over after I finished work, and then by the time she left, it was after 4. So then we took Hamish out for a walk. Had a nice wee walk with him and came back. I did some admin stuff because I needed to add books onto my spreadsheets, and then there was something wrong with my spreadsheet where one of them was missing a book, so I had to find that. Found it, sorted it, and then it was dinner time, and then Lisa was live and she was like, if you're free, here's the link. And I was like, hey. So yeah, now I have not read anything since. I've just been catching up on YouTube videos. I also put all of my YouTube videos into playlists. So I've got a vlogs for 2022, vlogs for 2023, TBR for 2022, TBR for 2023, etc. So you're welcome. If you want to watch things like that, they're all sectioned, so now you should know, you know, if you're looking for a TBR, you don't need to scroll and scroll and scroll. Just go into the TBR folder and they're all there, and hopefully they're in order. I don't know if that ranges it or not. I'm not doing any more of that tonight. I'm so tired. It is 10:15. We're on a last sprint. I doubt I'm going to read anything, which is unfortunate. I'm going to finish this video and then I might pick up something actually. I might start reading. I'm not even sure what else is on my TBR. I just know that I've got Yellowface sitting there, waiting for me to read it. I did also get my copy of The Shadow Cabinet. I'll show you at a different point. I got my copy of The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson, which is great because I'm going to go see Juno Dawson on Friday, and hopefully she'll be able to do a sign-in, and I can get mine dedicated because it's already signed. I got a signed edition, so hopefully she can dedicate it because it would be nice, you know. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to read The Shadow Cabinet as well, but I think I'm going to put that off until maybe next month. But at the same time, it's Pride Month, so I should really be reading things like The Shadow Cabinet because it's Pride. And I said on Twitter as well, I think I'm contractually obliged to read Heartstopper in Pride Month. You know, can't tell you where the contract is or where it came from, but I just in case, I might as well just read Heartstopper. But yeah, so I'm gonna go, and I will probably not update again until tomorrow. Hopefully I've actually read something for a change. Hello, good afternoon. I'm back from work on day 3. I ran some errands after work, so I had a vintage parcel that I had to take in to the shop to be sent away, so I took that in. Finished work, came along, nipped into Greg's for some lunch because I was absolutely gutted. I went into Semichem to get some mascara because my mascara is just not. It's too old. I need a new one, so I got a new mascara. Last time I bought mascara, I swear there wasn't this much choice. So googled some stuff in Semichem, got myself a mascara. Here's hoping it'll be a decent one. And then I went along, booked myself in for a haircut because this mess here needs trimmed. Like, it needs a trim, so it'll be nice and grow nice and healthy and strong. So I need a trim, and then what next? What am I doing next? What did I do next? Then on my way to the shop to drop in the parcel to get sent for Vinted, I passed the car wash that my boss recommended. So I was like, I'm going to nip in there. So I nipped in there. There was a wee bit of a queue because it's a hand car wash. So there was a wee bit of a queue. So I phoned my mum, sat and ate my lunch in the car while I was waiting, which is great. Like, getting to just chill out and sit and eat my lunch while I was waiting instead of having to wait till I got home. So sat and had my lunch, and then I got my car washed, went to the shop, dropped off my parcel, came home, fed Hamish, and now he's out having a pee. And yeah, so I'm fair chuffed with how my day's been so far. I am away to watch some YouTube videos that got uploaded today because I'm up to date with my watch later list, and I will be hopefully reading Yellowface after that. I've only got 3 videos, so hopefully I can get some reading done. I'm really liking my hair right now. There's no way in hell it's going to stay like that, but I would just like to say I really like my hair right now. So yeah, but yeah, that's the plan. Oh, might all go awry, I might fall asleep. You never know. So I will catch you later. So this is the new mascara on. I don't know how much. Hi. I don't know how much you can see it. That I should have given you a good view though. I'm actually really happy it's not going all over my eyes like the other one does. It is like a no clump, but there are definitely clumps there. But you know, I like it. I'm really impressed. Like, I mean, I've just been using crappy old what's it called, mascara for ages. I should maybe get my brush down, and I've got a brush somewhere near the eyelash brushes. Oh god, what have I just done? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was just trying it out. I'm going to take it off before I go to bed. But I just wanted to try it out, see how it looks. And I'm quite chuffed. Because I don't know, I don't know if it's... I don't know, the last time I had eyeliner and mascara on, I just didn't like it. And I'm quite like the mascara with the eyeliner now. Look at me being a total weirdo compared to my normal self. But yeah, I've been reading. Have not been reading Yellowface though. I watched some YouTube videos before I started reading. And one of the videos I watched was Katy's, God, that makes me like almost bald. Sitting Katy's video, and she was talking about Down the Rabbit Hole, I think it's called, by Holly Madison, who was one of Hugh Hefner's girlfriends on a TV show called, I think it was Girls of the Playboy Mansion here and Girls Next Door in America. And I've never met anybody else that watched that. I watched it on E, and Katy watched it, so she was reading Holly's book because it kind of tells you the actual truth of her experience there, or her truth of her experience there, because there are always three sides to the story. There is your side, their side, and the truth, because everybody sees things skewed from their point of view. I'm not saying what happened to her isn't true, but like, whenever you tell a story, you're skewing it from your perspective. So it's always like slightly tweaked from maybe what someone like an anyway, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I'm reading that and I'm really, really fascinated. I'm on chapter 5 and Bridget has just arrived. Bridget, who is again one of the girlfriends that was in that TV show, so it was Holly, Bridget and Kendra. And they all kind of ended up leaving at the same time, and it was just a whole thing. And yeah, it's been so interesting so far. But goddamn, like, damn. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea, get changed into jammies, and sit down and read for a while. So I'm updating so much. I know it's only Wednesday. I think I might have said it's Tuesday earlier, but it's Wednesday today. I've already done this with you. I've tried the mascara and I'm really happy with it. Yes, I'm reading. I'm about halfway through. I'm just over halfway through Down the Rabbit Hole by Holly Madison. And she spent the whole first quarter of the book not playing the victim, but like explaining how all the other girlfriends, the 7 at the time, were so mean to her and so catty, and like she didn't understand what she'd done to deserve that behaviour, and like, you know, playing up the poor innocent me thing, which, like, nothing to say that she wasn't. Like, that's fine. Like, if they were nasty to you because you were getting attention, that's not on. Like, it's horrible. It is horrible. And that he was pitting these women against each other on purpose to get that reaction. That's awful. And then the way she talks about Kendra is absolutely disgusting. Like, she's talking about, like, it wasn't me that ended up getting the others kicked out. No, we needed someone much more of a blonde, dumb bimbo for that. In comes Kendra. Like, are you kidding me? That's how you want to introduce her? And then you spend the next bit talking about how dumb she is. Like, the next quarter talking about how stupid she is, how dumb she is, how spoiled and entitled, and just all these horrible, horrible things that you're saying about this other woman that you've just complained about people saying about you. And like, she's like, well, Kendra says she didn't sleep with him, but I had to sleep with him before I got a key. And there's no way he would have, let her in without sleeping with him, despite the fact that Kendra was underage. And that Kendra has, like, said in interviews that she said she didn't sleep with him before getting in, like, being invited to live there. She's pointed out, like, she doesn't want to go back, like, think about things like that. Like, she doesn't want to dredge up now because she has kids now. Like, she's so much older now. Like, at the time when Kendra was living there, she was like 18, 19. And I'm assuming she must have been 17 if she was underage when they first met her. And now she's got like one of her kids, I think also like one of her kids is now 11, or he was when this book came out. And Holly Madison's talking about her private sex life as a child, or as like a very, very new adult. And she's like, I don't like to call I don't like calling people a slut. And it's like, but here you are doing it. Like, I'm so mad right now. Like, I'm gonna go through that. I'm gonna finish it because I want to see where this goes. But honestly, like, for somebody who's made this whole point about being the victim of women bullying her in this environment, she then drags Kendra for like. For, the girl was 19, 18, 17, 18, 19, and she's dragging her like she's meant to be a fully formed adult. Like, I would be embarrassed and ashamed if I wrote this book. I used to have a lot of respect for Holly Madison. Reading this book, I have lost that respect. And after reading an interview with Kendra regarding this book, I have lost more respect for Holly Madison, which is such a shame. She can't wait to paint Bridget in an amazing light. Bridget's so smart, Bridget's got a master's degree, Bridget's this, Bridget's that, Bridget's the next thing. Kendra, she's just a stupid bimbo with big boobs. Oh, I'm sorry, what was it you were saying the chapter before? Me, Holly Madison, I hate that people just see me as a stupid blonde bimbo with big boobs. And then we should be uplifting other women, not dragging them down, and certainly not when she was basically a child. You're looking back at this in your 30s and you're going, well, I remember her as this dumb idiot bimbo with no prospects, and she was just... You are an adult talking about someone who was basically a child. Please get a grip of yourself. I'm so mad. I didn't realise I was this mad, but I'm really mad. Like, I get, like, she was in a situation, like, Holly was in a situation that was bad. Like, she was being abused. And I mean, like, abused, like, manipulated and degraded and told, and if you've seen Holly Madison, like, told that she was ugly, that she wasn't good enough. She was, like, whittled down, and when she met Hugh Hefner, she was in a really, really bad place where she was about to become homeless, so her only option was to move into the Playboy Mansion. You move into the Playboy Mansion, it means you're obligated to do certain things which are illegal to make someone do. Like, I get that she had a lot of trauma. I totally get that. And her thoughts at the time, when this was all happening, and she was in her early 20s, go off. Like, absolutely go off. Like, you feel how you feel. You process how you process. But if you're writing this book, I think this came out in 2021, years after this has all happened, and you're reflecting on it, you should really at least try and not make yourself look like a total bitch by dragging other people. Like, I'm not sitting here going, oh my god, Holly, you're so right. Like, oh my god, how stupid was Kendra? And that annoying laugh, and oh my god, like, like, no, I'm sitting here going, you're in your 30s, dragging someone who is 19. I'm halfway through, I'm going to finish this book. And I really, really hope she does some more reflecting at the end and realises. Like, I really hope there's some redemption here, because right now, Holly, you're not looking so hot. Like, you're everything you're saying you despise. And definitely not a role model at the moment to me. Like, I've never viewed her as a role model because I don't know much about her, but like, people view her as a role model and she's acting like this. Like, it's okay to bring down other women who are barely out of their teens or still in their teens, women who were possibly abused as children, and she's using that to leverage herself to show why she is better than Kendra. You go on in this book about how you hate the drama. You go on in this book about how you hated that Hugh Hefner used to pit women against each other, and all you're doing in your book is pitting you and Bridget, the Golden Girls, or your Golden Girls, against Kendra and against every other woman in here. And if they were horrible to you, like, I get that. Like, it's horrible to be treated like that by mean girls. I get it. But, like, Kendra was a child. I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna finish this book. And probably come back to you with a bit more of a rant, but I am severely disappointed reading this book. I am so disappointed in Holly for this book, and disappointed in whoever edited that and went, yeah, that'll do. Like, Good afternoon. It is Thursday after work. I'm sitting watching some YouTube videos because I am. And yeah, I finished that book last night. Didn't get any better. In fact, it got worse. It was pretty much Holly explaining how awful everybody was to her, and describing the behaviour that she was so against this behaviour and this, that, the next thing. And then the second half of the book was her then, or even the next 3/4 of the book, was her being like that to other people and other women. And it's like, but of course, well, at the same time, she was fabulous, she was amazing, she was incredible. How anybody got by without her, we don't know. And like, the Girls Next Door failed because she was pulling in the ratings, and then when they changed over Peep Show, it failed because she was no longer there. And like, the level of just like the fact that she was discussing other people and the way that she did was just disgusting. I am not surprised that people want to distance themselves from her, because if my friend spoke like that to me, or thought like that about me, who needs enemies? Like, goddamn. Yeah, so she was really, yeah, so at least I saw somebody who had rated it and said it was like it was this holier than thou sort of persona, and she absolutely was. I'm better than everybody else is just awful to me. Feel sorry for me, but don't worry, because I'm a survivor and everything I'm going to do is going to be mega successful, to the point where they can't do anything without me. And there's like a level where there's confidence, and she was just being she's just gone too far. Like, surprisingly, all these people that were really close to her suddenly didn't want anything to do with her, but that was because they had a problem. Like, the several people that distanced themselves from her, who weren't involved in like the abuse side of it, yeah, no, it was their fault because they had issues. Nothing to do with the way you were treating them at all. Nothing to do with the fact that you were calling them bimbos and idiots and lazy, useless. Yeah, sub friend. But yeah, so I'm going to watch some YouTube videos. I'm hoping to start Yellowface today. I meet Juno Dawson tomorrow, so that's exciting. So I would like to get Yellowface read, in part at least. Today, I know that's not Juno Dawson, but I know I won't be reading tomorrow because I'm going to the Juno Dawson event, so I would like to read today. And this is what I would like to read. So, going forward, that's pretty much the dates. Hello, I'm at the Juno Dawson event with Pia and Bobby. I'm trying not to film anybody else. We're at a church. I survived. There was no lightning. So now we're just waiting for Juno Dawson to come and talk, and there is a sign-in table there, so we're hoping that she will sign books. So wish us luck. Hello, we're at this angle again. So I'm back from seeing Juno Dawson, who, by the way, is one of the funniest yet sweetest people I have ever met. She's so lovely, just like so lovely. And of course, I got my copies of HMRC and Shadow Cabinet signed. So this was already, these were already signed, but she personalised it. So it says, "To Andy, welcome to the coven, Juno Dawson." And this one does have a spoiler in it, so if you don't want the spoiler, just when I put the book down, that's your cue. So, warned, spoiler, coming, 3, 2, 1. So this says, to Andy, in loving memory of Neve Kelly. I'm going to have to reread HMRC before I read the Shadow Cabinet, I think, because the things that Juno was talking about that I didn't quite pick up the first time I read it, I really want to reread it. Oh my god, I look rough. I really want to reread it after getting that perspective from Juno, so I'm excited. I also got a copy of What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. Again, signed, it just says, to Andy, love Juno Dawson. This is Yellow Face, by the way. I have actually been reading it in some letters, I'm sorry. And then I also found a copy of All of the Above, which is a pansexual book, and me being pansexual, just love it. So I said to Juno, I was like, it's really rare you see pansexual characters in books, and she wrote to Andy an ode to pansexuality, and signed it, obviously. It's funny because she ran out of room, because I was taught, me being me, was rambling, talking to her, and she was trying to like pay attention to me while she was writing. She was like, oh shit, I've run out of room. So yeah, we went to Blackwell's before we went for food, so of course I picked up a couple of books. So I picked up A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This is by far my favourite. I mean, I've only read 2 Patrick Ness books, but oh my god, I absolutely adored A Monster Calls. This was just unbelievably fantastic. Hi Hamish. Hi. And then I picked up Buried by Professor Alice Roberts. I have Ancestors by Alice Roberts, and it is so good and so accessible and just fabulous. So I decided to pick up a copy of this when I saw it. I literally nabbed it as I walked past the table. So yeah, I have well, a bit of a haul here. So these 4 are hauled. These 2 I already had. Well, Shadow Cabinet I only got the other day because it only got technically published yesterday, but it came here on Tuesday. It was meant to come on Monday, but there was some difficulty with the postie not knocking on the door while Kay was sitting poised and ready to answer the door so that I could get my book for going to see Juno Dawson. So, but I got it on the Tuesday. Literally, Kay sat with the window open, like sat at the window waiting for this postie to come with this book. She was like, you are getting your book today. So she and Hamish got my book for me, and I got it signed, well, personalised, and oh, it was such a good talk. It was so funny. Right at the end, somebody asked her, because she's quite a lot about, she was talking a lot about like forgiveness and stuff, and saying how there's a point, and she does it with her characters, there's a point where she feels like you can sort of go so far, and you should be able to turn around. So like, she used the example of Nigella Lawson. Nigella Lawson said something quite transphobic 10 years ago, and has since not necessarily recanted it, but said that she knows better now, that she's learned more, and she doesn't feel that way anymore, she doesn't think that way anymore. Like, she has been able to go back down the road she was on and like go a different path. And someone had asked who does she think the TERF is that can't go back, has gone too far. And she was like, well, I'm not going to name names. And I was like, break her on. She was like, like, she didn't hear me obviously, but I was just saying to Pia. I just kept saying it to Pia. And she was like, yeah, she was like, you can be bigoted if it's your opinions that you're bigoted, like, fine, like, nothing we can do about how people feel or what people think. But when you start actively donating money to places that actively are trying to take away lifelines for trans people, and actively work against things like Mermaids, which are working for trans youth, that's when you're a bit far. That's when you're gone too far. And well, if you don't know about the Oxfam cartoon debacle, I think we all know what TERF I think's too far down the garden path there. But yeah, can't believe it's Friday already. I thought yesterday was Wednesday, which did not help. But I think I'm going to go get into Jammies, get a cup of tea, collapse, maybe read some more Yellowface. Lisa's doing sprints tomorrow because she wants to get a full, like, massive, like, nearly 800 page book read, so I think I'm going to try and finish Yellowface and then possibly reread HMRC and then Shadow Cabinet. But I should really actually look at my TBR and read something off that. So, wish me luck. Good afternoon. It is Saturday. I'm on sprints with Lisa, Jem and Tori, and I am reading Yellowface. I am now 125 pages into Yellowface, which is a good chunk of the way through, and I'm conflicted, I'm confused, I don't know what to think. I'm really enjoying it. It's like I get like I get the whole like point of the book, like that's not what I'm confused about, but I am finding myself feeling bad for Juniper. I'm finding myself feeling conflicted about Juniper. I don't see her at the moment. Things could change, but at the moment, 125 pages in, I don't feel like Juniper's a villain. She just doesn't, like, a lot of what she's doing, she's not like, I'm going to use, like, Asian American stories to exploit and make money off of and, like, follow those Chinese American authors that are trying to get deals. Like, she's not doing it. She's not, like, rubbing her hands together like Dick Dastardly. She's, Hamish. She's not rubbing her hands together like Dick Dastardly, like, yes, I'm gonna, like, steal this culture, and she is, internally, she is quite conflicted herself. Like, she's almost trying to convince herself that she cares about these people, and I think she does in her own way. Like, she is learning to, in the aftermath, she's learning that these stories are important to be told, which they are important to be told, and yes, I understand why it is better for these stories to come from someone from that culture, from that background. But also, I don't think that, one, you should have to exclusively write in your culture genre, like culture, like, not everything has to be own voices. And two, these stories are important to be told. Like, if you find an interest in a part of history that nobody's writing about, nobody wants to explore, and you feel is important enough to be brought to the fore, I would like to read that story. I don't care who you are. I want to read that story. And like, there are so many authors I can think of that are very successful at the moment who are not writing own voices, and nobody seems to be blinking at it. Alice Oseman is one, like, is a very, like, gentle one, because she is writing about queer experiences as a queer person, but she is also writing about teenage boys. Alice Oseman is not a teenage boy. You've got John Green, who again writes about the experiences of teenagers and teenage girls and cancer patients and things he doesn't experience, but he does the work to understand the experience. And the one that I relate most to Yellowface is Shannon Chakraborty, S.A. Chakraborty. S.A. Chakraborty is white, and she is married to her husband, whose surname is Chakraborty. And if you, like, I could argue that she is using her husband's culture and the privilege of her husband's surname to write books about Middle Eastern culture, and that's just as wrong as June writing a book about Chinese culture. It's the same. It's very similar in that sense to me, but if I, like, the last time I did say that it seems weird that Shannon Chakraborty is getting away with writing these books when other authors are getting torn down, the response I got was like, oh no, but our husband's Middle Eastern, so it's okay. And I was like, that's not, but she's not. Like, so if the argument that you're making is that these things should be own voices, you can't then make an exception if you marry someone whose own voices. Like, I just think it's getting a bit too deep for some things. Like, June is not, like, she stole Athena's manuscript, lied about it, and has done other things that are beyond. Like, yeah, no, it's not that I'm saying, like, oh, June's a good person, like, why are we, shitting on June? No, it's just that there are some aspects of this book where I kind of feel bad for June, because she's struggling as a writer. She's struggling with herself and her confidence and her self-worth, and the way the publishing industry is treating her. And I feel sorry about her for that. Like, she needs the awards, and she needs the accolation to feel good. She needs somebody to believe in her, and that's very, very sad. And that is obviously something that is to do with the whole point of the book, that it's about the publishing industry. It's not that June is the bad one and everybody else is fine. Is that the publishing industry in general creates these situations where writers are treated poorly, and I'm seeing that through June, through the fact that nobody cared until she wrote something that was going to be spectacular, but they didn't give her, I feel bad for June. She's obviously a very hurt individual, and she needs therapy. Like, June needs therapy. So I genuinely do, though, like, I would love to see more own voices authors talking about their culture's history. And there's so much scope for that as well. Like, I'm Scottish, and to me, Scottish culture kind of not overrides other cultures, but like, to me, into a lot of, like, most of Scotland, other than those like few arseholes that you get, if you move to Scotland and you want to be like Scottish, you are Scottish. Like, if you want to come into our community, we'll consider you Scottish. Like, you may be Malay Scottish, for example. Kurt, that I watch on TikTok, is Malay and moved to Scotland. He is Scottish. He loves Scotland. He loves being here. He wants to stay here. He is Scottish. Like, that's it. It's as easy as that. He still get, like, of course he doesn't need to, like, abandon his Malay side, but, like, I'm not going to be, like, we're not going to be like, oh, no, you're not Scottish, though. You're, like, you're Malay Scottish. Like, we don't do this whole thing with, like, African American. Like, if you want to describe yourself that way to keep both of your identities, absolutely. But then to tell someone they're not Scottish because they're not white is just a bit ridiculous to me. Like, to me, they're Scottish. Like, they're just Scottish. I've had, like, friends through school that were not white, that were born in this country. Their families may have moved here. Their families may have been here for generations. They're Scottish. To me, they're Scottish. Like, so for me, getting to the actual point of this, say they wanted to write about Scottish culture. Great. I'm not going to be like, oh, but you're not the right kind of Scottish to write about that culture. You know? So, like, I feel like this argument is getting a bit less nuanced. And it's definitely something that needs thought, it needs nuance, it needs compassion and empathy, and it needs people to do the work. And people on the internet do not want to do the work. That's the problem. People on the internet want to inflame and argue, and I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh my god, this person's awful because XYZ. Like, that's not, it's just not how the world works, and the internet is just ridiculous. We need to give people that chance to turn around and walk back on their path. Because if you don't allow people to grow, they're only going to keep going in the wrong direction. Like, if someone said to Nigella Lawson, like, no, you're not allowed to, like, change that opinion, you have to, like, you're not allowed to grow as a person, you're not allowed to educate yourself and be a better person. Like, it's like, fine, okay, what's she going to do? Double down and be more transphobic? It is also our responsibility as other people to allow people to turn back, to allow people to take the time to educate themselves, because nobody's perfect, and you really should judge yourself shouldn't judge yourself on your first reaction or your first thought. You should judge it on your second, because how many times will you think or say something as a knee-jerk reaction and it's not actually how you feel? It's just like almost like a tuned in response, a knee-jerk response, but it's not necessarily how you feel. For example, I am disabled, I am female, and I am pansexual, and pansexual comes under the bi umbrella. These 3 things about me make people make snap judgments. Because I'm disabled, a lot of people think that I am incapable or lazy or other things like that, and they don't seem to understand the effect that my disability has on me. Whereas, so that's where things like own voices for things like that comes in. So Talia Hibbert, she's the first person I've read who wrote a disability who really understood how it feels to be disabled. But if someone else was to do the research and put that compassion into their books and do a good job, I'm not going to be mad that they're not disabled. You know? Bisexuals get it a lot, that we're greedy, that we will eventually cheat or we'll do this, that, and the next thing because we're not one way or the other. And it's just not right. There's so much wrong with that statement, and you know, we're still fighting against that stereotype. It's honestly like one of those things where it's poisoned in the minds of everybody. Like, the LGBT society as well gets really loaded down with labels and the way, you know, they want you to be a certain way. And when I met Kay, for example, Kay had this very stereotypical idea of what someone who was bisexual was like, or pansexual. I'm using bisexual as an umbrella term. So she had this preordained idea from what she'd heard. But after getting to know me and, you know, the kind of person I am, she learned and understood that you can't just blanket a whole community. You can't just blanket everybody. Everybody's an individual. You know, just because my exes were male doesn't mean that there's any less value in our relationship because she's female. That's not how it works, and you need to take it on an individual basis. I could have heard that opinion and been like, well, I don't want to be with you. But instead, I chose to be like, well, no, that's not how it is. Here's, like, an example of, like, this, that, the next thing. And we talked about it, and, you know, she reflected on it and was like, yeah, no, you're right. Like, just because someone's bisexual doesn't mean they're going to cheat, just as an example. And just because someone is fully gay or fully straight doesn't mean they will never cheat at all. Like, that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. So, like, I think, looping it back to what I was talking about with the book, to me, right now, 125 pages in, June can still turn back. She could still do the work to undo the harm that she has done, make reparations, and educate herself better, do a better job, because the value of the work that she has done, the value of the book, is still high. Had Athena written it and had Juniper written it and you know, put out the same book, the value of telling the story is still the same. Like, it's a story that needs to be addressed. It's a history that doesn't get showcased. So to me, it's valuable to at least even just spark the interest of other people. So for example, like, I didn't know. I'm going to Google it. I've not Googled it yet, but the book is about Chinese labourers in World War One and how they were brought over to work as labourers during the war, but treated very badly by the Allies, who were supposed to be their allies at the same time. I didn't know that ever happened, just like I didn't know about Japanese internment camps in the US. And that has then switched something on in my brain that gives me that hunger to research and to learn more about it. And that is valuable, whether it comes from a white author or an Asian author. So at the moment, I think June could always walk it back. She needs to admit what she did, she needs to make reparations, but she should still have a chance to walk it back. Going forward, I don't know how June's going to go. Like, I feel like it's just going to get worse. But this is why I'm so conflicted so far with Yellowface, because it's not a straight up, June is a racist villain. But at the same time, I'm reading this from a perspective where I'm a white person, June is a white person. I don't know the damage that things like this may do to people of colour and their cultures. And, you know, this is why, you know, R.F. Kuang has written this, because it is her experience of being on the other end of that barb. She is the Asian author that has been taken from. Not necessarily in the same way, like, I think it's not a write-in for R.F. Kuang, but you know what I mean. But then, to argue the point, just to, like, switch it around, this is a book about a white female author. R.F. Kuang is not a white female author. So the argument, like, you can't then argue that white authors shouldn't write Asian stories, but Asian people can write white stories. It's a whole complex conversation. I'm not even. This is all just like word vomit out of my brain. Like, there's so much nuance to this, and yeah, that's just how I'm feeling right now about the book. And the fact that it's getting me talking, the fact that it's getting me thinking, is the most important thing about this book. The fact that it's making me think, the fact that it's making me question and query, and, you know, like I say, I'm white, reading about a white person doing something. I have a very biased perspective on that. Whether I want to believe I have or not, I'm going to have a biased perspective, because I've never lived the life of someone, in this case, an Asian author, an Asian woman. I have not lived that life. An Asian American as well, which is different again. I haven't lived that life. I haven't lived that experience. So I can't really weigh in on that, because I don't know anything. But at the same time, I do feel conflicted, because I don't feel like June is an outright villain. But yeah, I mean, please discuss it with me. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I am more than happy to listen to other points of view. That's why I do this. But this video, this book has really got my brain going. And I don't think it's something that will be worked out necessarily even in the next year. It's a very, very complex and nuanced topic. So yeah, that's my. I'm gonna shut up now. And, you know, read more of the book and get more context. But that's how I'm feeling reading Yellowface so far. I see you, R.F. Kuang, getting some Babel in this book. They're talking about film to book adaptations, and they're saying, it's a translation really, and translation across mediums is inherently unfaithful to some extent. Roland Barthes. An act of translation is an act of betrayal, which was the tagline for Babel. I see you what you're doing. But yeah, like, I've just read, June had a chance to be a better person, and that would have been more difficult for her, so she took the easy route and allowed them to try and whitewash. I don't know where this is going, but yeah, June has these chances to be a true ally, and she's just thinking of herself. So I get that. Like, but I'm really enjoying this book. Hello, it's Sunday. I am just back home from my friend's funeral. Our parents came over from New Zealand, so we could have a funeral here as well. And yeah, it was really nice. I cried a lot. I'm pretty sure I was the one that was crying most. It was kind of, I was trying not to, but every time I looked at her daughter and saw what she looked like her, set me off. So yeah, that was fun. But I actually had a really nice time, which sounds weird when you're at a funeral, but like, I got to see a few of my friends from high school, and I was really nervous about it, but it was actually really healing, like really good to get to speak to them again. Especially since Ashley was, like, we all could agree, she was the glue, she was the linchpin, she was the thing that held us all together. And one of the girls said it really, really well. She was the one that would step back and be able to kind of like draw us out of petty like arguments. She was the one that would kind of look at the big picture and go, this is a dumb thing to argue about. And yeah, just again, here she's brought us all together. And we got chatting, and it was just so nice to be able to speak to people that I've not seen in a while, and such, like, just the way we were, it was just really nice. She would be really happy. But yeah, I'm gonna go in before I set myself off again. And I don't know if I'll sign this vlog off later. I will try to, because I do want to do a little bit of reading. It's only 6 o'clock. I do want to do a little bit of reading today, but I still have washing I need to do because I don't have clothes for work tomorrow because they're all dirty. So, hello. My face is huge. I just coming in to close off the vlog. I've had a shower. I still need to wash my hair, but I've had a shower. I have had my dinner. I'm now sitting down with a cup of Earl Grey and just relaxing. I'm gonna possibly start a book. If not, I don't know. I didn't actually say, but I had already started What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. I am 55 pages in. But I also next week will be starting Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. This is one I chose for the sprayed edges, so hopefully the concept sounds really good, because it does. I'll talk about it in next week's vlog, so yeah. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to sleep for a week after this funeral, so yeah. So if you want, please do give me some hearts down in the comments just for the rough week that I've had. Week 2 at work starts on Monday, so obviously you'll find that out in next week's vlog. And yeah, comment down below, and I will see you in the next video.